In 2025, Amazon will quietly drain over $500 from the average American shopper, not in one big scam, but slowly, one useless gadget at a time. And the most dangerous part? You won't even notice it happening. It slips into your life with a Prime logo and a smile, and before you know it, your home is cluttered with overpriced, overhyped junk hiding in drawers, closets, and maybe even plugged in right now. So let me ask you, how many things have you bought online that seemed smart until they broke, overheated, or simply disappeared into the trash? Today, we're revealing 9 Amazon products that smart shoppers never touch anymore. And number 1, you might actually be using it right now, multi-port USB wall chargers. Meet John. Like thousands of others, he thought he'd scored a deal, one sleek little charging station for all his devices. But what he didn't know is that these multi-chargers, sold by no-name brands with flashy names, are hiding a dark secret: they're potential fire hazards. Behind those 5-star reviews and perfect photos, cheap internal wiring, zero safety certifications, and a heat output that would make any licensed electrician break a sweat. These little plastic bricks don't just fail, they melt, spark, and sometimes even ignite. And where do people plug them in? Near their beds, behind the baby monitor, in kitchens surrounded by paper towels and plastic. You're trusting your family's safety to a $4 knockoff made with parts that probably cost pennies. Here's what they won't tell you: most of these aren't UL certified. That tiny label that says this product won't turn your home into a bonfire? Nowhere to be found. Instead, you'll see buzzwords like smart IC tech and turbocharge, phrases that sound advanced but mean nothing. It's marketing smoke and mirrors, banking on the fact that most shoppers never check the fine print or the return policy. Listen, this isn't about charging faster, it's about thinking smarter. If something ships too fast, costs too little, and sounds too good, it's probably trouble in disguise. Amazon makes falling for these easy. But the smart ones, the careful ones, they know better now. Don't wait until your wall is blackened and buzzing with regret. Don't let a charger be the reason your peace of mind goes up in smoke, and just when you think it can't get worse, it does. Number 2. Expandable garden hoses. They're the dream, right? Lightweight, easy to store, colorful, and promise to never kink. But the truth? They're one of the most frustrating fakes in your backyard. These hoses explode. Literally. One couple in Arizona said theirs burst on the first use like a balloon at a kid's party. Sure, they look beautiful online, coiled like a perfect spring, labeled durable and tough, but after a few uses, the seams split, the connectors leak, and suddenly you're out there dragging a deflated rubber snake across your lawn, soaked and swearing under the sun. The worst part? Most people don't even realize how bad they are until it's too late to return them. And trust me, after 30 days, your refund window is long gone. Veteran gardeners know a real hose has weight. It has grit, it survives summers, not just a Saturday. These expandable ones, they're built for show, not for survival. That super flexible rubber, it becomes brittle fast, especially under heat and water pressure. In warmer states, they don't stand a chance. One angry reviewer wrote, "It lasted 2 weeds in a tomato plant, then it gave up on life." If you're out there battling nature, you deserve tools that fight with you, not ones that quit halfway through the season. In the battlefield of your backyard, your garden hose shouldn't be the one waving the white flag. But that's exactly what happens when you fall for the gimmick. Expandable hoses promise convenience, but when the summer sun is blazing, the weeds are out of control, and your hose suddenly gives up, you're not just losing water. You're losing time, money, and patience. Sometimes the simplest and most durable option is the smartest one. Because when you're in the heat of battle with nature, a flimsy hose is more of a liability than a tool. Now let's talk about something even more frustrating: fake premium phone charging cables. They look strong, they sound tough, some even say Kevlar or military grade in the name, but don't let that braided exterior fool you. These so-called premium cables are ticking time bombs for your phone. One customer said, "Looked strong, lasted a week, took my charging port with it." And that's the trap. What you think is a shield turns out to be a blade. These cables flood your social media and Amazon feed with glowing reviews and promises of unbeatable durability. But inside, fragile wires, weak soldering, and absolutely no certification. No safety checks, no standards, just empty promises wrapped in nylon. You plug it in thinking you scored a deal, and within days your phone won't charge, your port is bent, and your warranty is useless. The return window? Closed. The regret? Wide open. And here's what makes it worse. Your phone's charging port is one of the most delicate parts of your device. One bad cable, one rough unplug, and suddenly you're staring at a $300 repair bill for a device that might not even be fixable. One user said their super durable cable actually snapped off inside their iPad, and they had to dig it out with tweezers and panic. That's not durability, that's disaster. Buying cheap cables feels smart until you're holding a broken $1,200 phone and wondering why you ever trusted a no-name brand with something that important. Think about it. Would you ever buy knockoff brake pads for your car just to save a few bucks? No. So why gamble with your phone? Premium gear protects? These fakes only pretend. And by the time you find out the truth, it's usually too late. Let's keep it going with number 6, cheap electric milk frothers. You wanted that cozy cafe feeling at home, a swirl of foam, a sprinkle of cinnamon, that smooth creamy sip in your morning cup? But what did you get? A noisy little toy that chews through batteries, dies before your second latte, and leaves you with a sad puddle of warm milk. Martha from Georgia said hers froze mid-froth and never came back to life. And honestly, that sounds about right. These knockoff frothers promise coffee shop vibes, but what they deliver is chaos. You hold the button and nothing. Or it sputters like a wasp trapped in a soda can. The motor's weak, the plastic feels like it came out of a vending machine, and the whole thing vibrates so hard it might fly out of your hand. One frustrated reviewer even joked, "I've seen more power in a hotel toothbrush." Here's the truth. If a product can't do the one thing it was made to do, it doesn't belong in your kitchen. It belongs in the junk drawer, or better yet, the trash. For just a few bucks more, you could have had one that actually works. Being frugal doesn't mean buying the cheapest thing on the shelf. It means buying once and buying right. If any of this is hitting a little too close to home, don't worry, you're not alone. And if this list is helping you dodge some disasters, do us a favor and tap that like button. It seriously helps the channel. And if you want more straight-up, no-nonsense advice about what not to buy, subscribe and join the Frugal Daily crew. We're here to save you money, peace of mind, and the little joys that make life better. Let's talk about something that should be a lifesaver, but usually ends up in the return bin: automatic jar openers. At first glance, they seem like a miracle, especially for people with arthritis, wrist pain, or low grip strength. A button-press solution to a daily struggle? Who wouldn't want that? But sadly, what shows up in the box is more heartbreak than help. These gadgets often work once, maybe twice. Then they stall, slip, or just stop altogether. One buyer said it couldn't even handle a peanut butter lid, gave a little whir, then died forever. And when that happens, it doesn't just feel like a product failure, it feels personal. Imagine needing help to open a simple jar, already frustrated and in pain, and the very device that's supposed to restore your independence just clicks, groans, and quits. That's not assistance. That's insult wrapped in plastic. Many of these cheap models are built with weak motors, slippery grips, and arms that lose tension after just a few uses. The casing? It feels like it could crack from a dirty look, and yet they're marketed as lifesavers, as if they'll give you back your freedom in the kitchen. But when something designed for support becomes another source of stress, it's more than just a bad purchase, it's a broken promise. One reviewer said, "This thing is basically a loud paperweight with a power button," and they're not wrong. These tools are supposed to help people feel capable again, but instead they leave them even more discouraged. If you really need help opening jars, skip the flashy junk and invest in something that's been tested, trusted, and recommended by real people, not just sponsored influencers. Because when you're already facing daily challenges, the last thing you need is another disappointment in a cardboard box. Now let's move from frustration to frozen chaos. Fancy ice cube trays with lids. They look like a modern kitchen upgrade: clean lines, stackable design, clear lids for mess-free filling. But the reality? They're a recipe for disaster. The lids don't seal properly. They warp, leak, or pop off in the freezer. What you hoped would be neat, cocktail bar perfection turns into a soggy, uneven mess, and when you try to stack them, water spills like a practical joke, leaving you with frozen puddles and half-formed blobs that look more like melted snow than classy cubes. One user said, "It looked amazing in my cart, now it lives in my junk drawer." That's the story for so many of these so-called upgrades. Sure, they look sleek online, but in real life, they waste time, make a mess, and end up collecting dust. Meanwhile, the old-school plastic tray that's been around since your grandma's kitchen still gets the job done. No drama, no mess, just simple, solid results. If a product takes a 30-second task and turns it into an icy struggle, that's not innovation. That's inconvenience dressed in silicone. So unless your dinner guests are food critics from a design magazine, which they're probably not, stick to what works. Because in the end, no one cares what your ice cubes look like, they just want a cold drink. In a world obsessed with style, sometimes the smartest, most refreshing choice is the one that actually does what it promises. And if you thought we'd hit the bottom of the bad product barrel, brace yourself, posture correctors are next. They're marketed as miracle straps to fix your spine. Wear it for a few minutes a day, and poof, years of bad posture gone. But the reality? They dig into your shoulders, rub your skin raw, and do next to nothing for your actual posture. Jake, a warehouse worker, gave one a shot. He wore it for a week and said it made him walk like a robot with a rash. That's not correction. That's discomfort disguised as wellness. These posture correctors might feel tight and supportive at first, but they often force your body into positions it's not ready for, which can actually weaken your back muscles over time. They promise invisible support under your clothes, but many users say they just end up sweaty, irritated, and more hunched over than before. And when a $12 strap starts leaving red marks and shoulder pain, is it really helping, or just pretending to? If your spine is crying out for help, the answer isn't a gimmicky gadget. It's stretching, strengthening, maybe a visit to a real professional, because no piece of elastic can replace actual care. Don't settle for products that leave you worse off than where you started, especially when it comes to your health. You've seen the ads. Maybe you've even worn one. A strap that's supposed to train your body to sit straighter, feel better, and fix your posture just like that. But let's get real. These posture corrector straps aren't helping, they're hurting, and most people ditch them in less than a week. Not because they forget, but because they can't stand the discomfort. One user said wearing it felt like being velcroed into a bad decision. These braces don't actually support your back, they compress it. They force your shoulders into an unnatural position, relying on tension rather than training. Instead of encouraging muscle strength, they do the exact opposite. They make your body weaker. Your posture might look better in the mirror for 5 minutes, but underneath, your muscles are crying out for help. One reviewer put it perfectly, "It didn't fix my posture, it just reminded me how cheap it was every time I breathed." Think about it. If fixing your back was as easy as strapping on a stretchy piece of elastic, physical therapists would be out of work. But they're not. Because real posture correction takes movement, muscle, and mindful habits, not a $9 contraption you found online. Your spine deserves better than something that costs less than a sandwich. Don't fall for health products that promise too much and deliver nothing but discomfort. Sometimes the best fix isn't fast, it's real. And just when you think you've seen the worst, here comes number one. And it's something millions of people carry, pack, and even wear every single day thinking it's helpful. Spoiler, it's not. Let's talk about disposable compressed towels, those tiny coin-shaped tablets that magically turn into towels when you add water. Sounds cool, right? Until you actually try to use one. What unrolls isn't a towel, it's a damp, flimsy napkin that shreds the second you touch anything remotely messy. One poor guy said, "Tried to clean a spill, ended up using my shirt instead." That's not travel convenience. That's a magic trick gone wrong. These so-called travel hacks are plastered all over TikTok and Amazon. They puff up with water. Sure, but the only thing they really clean is your expectations. They dissolve into a soggy mess, falling apart like wet tissue. Try wiping down a counter, and you'll be left holding what looks like a wet receipt. And they're not even space-saving. Once expanded, they take up the same room as a real microfiber cloth. Except a real cloth can actually clean something. Here's the worst part. They're not reusable, not durable, and not cheap. Per wipe, they often cost more than a roll of paper towels that could last a whole week. So what are you really buying? A single-use fail disguised as innovation. It's minimalism on paper, but maximum frustration in real life.